my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
Everybody take a deep breath. We've been here before. The Atlanta Falcons have had many off seasons where fans have looked at all the changes and said, we're going all the way this year. But what does that even look like? What does it take to go all the way? Can Atlanta actually win a Super Bowl this season? Are we legit contenders? After the signing of Justin Simmons and Patriots Matthew Judon, it seems like a genuine shift has occurred among the fan base. People are really starting to have hope. But thinking rationally, what should our expectations be? I mean, we haven't seen more than 7 wins in 7 years. Can we really jump to being Super Bowl contenders in just 1 year? So let's take a look. Let's break down and decide realistically what our expectations should be of the Atlanta Falcons for the 2024 NFL season. I said in my last video that I'm predicting the Falcons to win the NFC South with an 11-6 record, and for the most part, I stand by that. But is this the best case scenario, and what does the worst case scenario look like? And is 11-6 actually the most plausible outcome? In my head, 11-6 makes the most sense, plus or minus 1. 12-5 seems just as likely if we're being honest, especially considering the new additions to the team. But I won't lie, 10-7 sometimes seems to make even more sense, but maybe that's just me trying not to get my hopes too high. So what's the ceiling? The conversation between the ceiling and the floor is what I think makes the Falcons such a complicated football team. I'm going to put their ceiling at 13-4. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm not just being a biased fan, 13-4. With my 11-6 prediction, the things I could see playing out differently are the division rival games against the Bucks and the Saints. Give us those 2 wins and a 6-0 NFC South record, and we're sitting really pretty. However, it takes a lot of momentum to finish a 17-game season with 13 wins. It's possible, just not very likely. So what about the floor? This is why I said the Falcons are a complicated team, because knowing their history, they could finish 0-17 if they really tried. But realistically, I think their floor is probably 7-10, maybe 8-9. Again, I think this is unlikely, but I could see us struggling to gain our footing with a tough early schedule and never really finding it until it doesn't matter. However, knowing our division, we could go 8-9 and still make the playoffs. It's entirely plausible. Now, one thing that has frustrated me for the past 7 years is watching what feels like a completely different Falcons team every single week. In week 2 of last season, we were down against the Packers 24-12 in the fourth quarter, and we fought back into the game to win it at the very end 25-24. We were 2-0 and showing signs of true resiliency. Our defense was elite and our offense was forming. And then we'd play teams like the Vikings, and our defense failed to show up entirely, not even being able to stop career backup Dr. Josh Dobbs. However, this season, I think we'll finally see a consistent Falcons team. Sure, they'll lose some and it'll be disappointing, and they'll win some in close fashion, and then they'll dominate a few others. That's football. But I think we'll be doing a lot less of, man, where has our defense been? And if only we had a decent quarterback than we've done in previous years. If anything, our losses will come down to struggling in big atmospheres and just getting outplayed by some really great athletes, namely Patrick Mahomes. I think Kirk Cousins will have a tremendous season. I'd even predict over 4,000 yards if he stays healthy. He's got the talent and the roster to do it. Drake London, being one of the primary targets, should go for over 1,000 yards. And the last time Kyle Pitts had a competent quarterback, he was a top 10 tight end. I think we see him return to his true form this season. Bijan Robinson is only going to get better and better. I don't think he'll be the single best running back this year, but he'll continue to be in the top 5, maybe top 3 conversations. And he's definitely going to be in the MVP conversation in future seasons. Only injuries and incompetent coaching can really hold him back. Defensively, I'd be shocked to end with anything less than a top 5 defense. All of the pieces are there. A great secondary, a great defensive line, and finally some decent pass rushing that may just get us over the hump. Now, what about the playoffs? I do think we'll make the playoffs. I actually fully expect us to make the playoffs. I fully believe it's our division to lose. So what would our potential matchups look like? Because we're in the same conference as the 49ers and the Eagles, I would not expect to secure the number 1 or number 2 seed. I'm sure we'll be sitting in the 3rd or 4th spot. That means we'll end up playing either the 5th seed or the 6th seed, consisting of teams that didn't win their division, but probably could have had they won a few more games. And because of the way the NFL playoffs are set up, there's even a possibility to play a team with a better record than us. I'm predicting the Eagles, 49ers, and Lions to win their divisions, which likely leaves us playing either the Cowboys, Rams, Packers, Bears, or potentially even the Buccaneers. It's hard to predict this far ahead how the Falcons will perform in a playoff game. I have nothing to base it on for the season. However, the first playoff game the Falcons will host at Mercedes-Benz Stadium is likely to have a very high energy and will be a daunting task for any visiting team. I would love to say Atlanta takes the round 1 win, but it's just a little too early to tell. Now, the big question is, can the Falcons win the Super Bowl? Which is a little bit different from will they win the Super Bowl? And because it's a professional sport, every team theoretically has a 3.125% chance to win the Super Bowl at the start of every season. Doesn't matter how bad you are, you do have a chance, statistically. But we all know some teams really don't actually have a chance after all. The Panthers, Patriots, Steelers, Giants, Vikings, Saints, Commanders, Broncos, Raiders, Titans. I'm sorry, you're probably not going to win the Super Bowl. You're probably not even going to make the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, you're probably not even going to make the playoffs. But I think the Falcons have elevated into that territory. They now have the 13th best odds to win the Super Bowl, sitting at plus 2,600. For those of you who don't understand how betting works, let me give you a reference point. The Falcons at 13 are at plus 2,600. The 49ers at number 1 are at plus 600, and the Patriots at 32 are at plus 30,000. So are we going to win the Super Bowl this year? In my honest opinion, no, probably not. But can we? Are we capable? Yes, we are. We're in the conversation, and after suffering for the past 7 years, I think that's enough. Now it's just time to compete.